Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Santa Clarita In-Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Dorio,
on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our guest this morning is none other than Kim Wall.
Good morning,
Welcome,
guys.
my love.
Welcome
How
back.
are you?
Thank you. Oh, I'm hanging in there.
Just hanging?
I'm just hanging. I'm gonna be 100% real, and like my sister says, I'm hanging. I had the plague last week, and yeah, so I'm hanging. I'm good, but you know what? It 2 days it kicked my butt.
Takes it out
Kicked
of you,
my
doesn't
butt.
it?
It did. So yep, I'm here though for you guys. I'm not gonna let you guys down. I'm good. Would have been in my pajamas and my slippers, but you know, can't let my team down.
I always say, though, when I'm hanging, I'm not hanging by a noose.
Yeah, that is
There you
true.
go.
That's
There
always
you
good.
go.
That's always good.
You're hanging with your 2 feet planted on the ground.
right.
There we go.
Absolutely. What are we talking about, Kim?
Well,
Other than good
whatever-
nutrition, good health.
whatever you guys are up to, I'm actually one of the reasons I'm up and about it is we have at Anaheim this weekend the big expo show for the natural products, and Dr. King is actually coming into town today. I was hoping he'd get here early enough today that I could bring him with me.
Oh, wouldn't that
But
have been-
he's still in the air somewhere. But yeah, I'm really excited about the expo and being able to share the knowledge and the wisdom of what homeopathy can do. We're actually going to be doing some interesting testing there this weekend for all the people that were exposed in Porter Ranch, all the chemicals and stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
So
And
he's
they're
brought,
still-
yeah,
They're still not
unfortunately.
going home.
Unfortunately.
Oh, I hope they fight tooth and nail to stay out until
Well, and
everything
especially
is
when you
cleaned
see
up.
all of the residue and stuff. Like
Yes.
this morning on the news, I saw that they're going into the playgrounds and areas like that. And again, I guess even homes on the outside have these little droplet residues everywhere. So Dr. King has put together a protocol to help people deal with the petrochemical exposure, to help people deal with the headaches or the nosebleeds or any of the symptoms they may have had. But the overall in this is just to help people understand how we can deal with toxicity in our environment. And Flint Ridge, Michigan is one of the things he'll be speaking about as well. And
But, these are all ones that
we know
we
of.
know of.
I know.
That's the
that's the
problem.
part.
When you looked at their water in Flint, I mean, it was a different color. When you could smell the changes. You couldn't see it, but you could smell the changes in the air in Porter Ranch. But there are things out there that we're facing that we don't know is there.
We don't.
That's pretty scary. And something. The other part of that, Kim, is that some of these things could have been there for years and contributing to our health and well-being, sometimes in a negative way.
And if it wasn't for the infrared cameras showing us what was actually going on, you're right, we probably wouldn't have known.
That's right.
And people were being told, oh, you're crazy. The symptoms, that's nothing. But I mean, it affected everyone, their animals, the young, the elderly, everyone was having symptoms. And my heart really goes out to the people of Porter Ranch. And
How long did that, do you recall how long that was going on before somebody really said, hey, not just I have symptoms, but somebody really said and turned around and said, yeah, we do have a problem here?
well, I think they exposed it in October, but
And it had been going on.
like I said, who
And now it's-
who knows? They're not going to be honest.
They didn't catch it.
And when we say they,
eliminated
it's industry that we rely on to help us get through life, to allow us to travel to different places, keep our houses warm, keep the lights on. Did they betray us, do you think?
Well, I don't know. All I know is there are people like the FDA and things like that. There are people in place that are supposed to have our backs. They're not supposed to work for those other companies. They're supposed to work for us. They're supposed to make sure as Americans that our water's clean and that that plant up on the hill you never knew was there is actually doing what it says it's doing. That the food I go and buy at my grocery store is what it says that it is. So I think for everyone it's understanding that we do have more power as Americans than I think we realize. And part of that is realizing that when you're in situations like that, like Flint Ridge, Michigan, I don't even know what they'll be able to do. I know from my experience with homeopathy, the beauty is we can give people homeopathic lead in this case, and not only will it detoxify that lead out of their body, but homeopathy is so amazing that it actually reprograms the body, so the body goes, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be a part of my chemistry. I'm going to keep you moving through. So even if there's further exposure, people can build up a resistance or be able to detoxify those things out of the body.
But what happens when it's a child, where and they're
Children,
a growing child, and
children,
they're
you're
absorbing
right. You're
more
right.
of these things, and it goes into their central nervous system, their brain, and how it totally affects them. I mean,
And that's where you wanna look at- right.
That's a different ball game. And I know what I would do. First of all, I change the water back and take it out of the Flint River, and then secondly, I repipe everybody.
Right.
And I don't know if the city or the state government is going to realistically and financially do that, but if not, then I think we have to move in somewhere federally and say, no, this cannot happen.
And realistically, you really don't want the water any of those rivers back east because they are polluted with so many chemical estrogens and pharmaceutical drugs and things like that. The lead is part of it, but the bottom line is the water itself is toxic in so many ways.
Well, it was the lead pipes apparently that were the lead was being leached out because of the change in the pH of the water, and they I think they knew that beforehand, but they still did the switch because they were going to save some money.
That's right,
and
gonna save some
but the
money.
big thing is, once again, I'm hearing all these reports coming out, but where's the action at? I mean, something like that is a disaster.
It is.
Exposing American people in a certain area of our country to a toxic chemical that, if we don't take care of it right away, it's going to affect them. Maybe it'll be a lifetime that we have to deal with it. With it right away. It's an emergency. It's a disaster.
That's right. Well, it's the same thing with Porter Ranch and this gas. What they need to do, in my opinion, is have every home in that area completely have everything taken out, completely sanitized inside, as well as the furniture and everything that they put back in.
Because we know that those things are going to absorb.
Oh, of course. Either that or replace every bit of furniture. It really has angered me.
Well, like I said,
when
it's sad.
they hear you say,
and they're fighting to,
after 7 days you can go in, everything will be fine. I said, what?
That's like after a nuclear bomb. You can go in a couple of weeks and everything will be fine.
Whoa.
We don't know. We don't even know the ramifications
That's exactly right.
of that.
And when
it's
the
right
FDA
on our doorstep here.
Right.
And when the FDA and the agencies that are supposed to regulate and test are not doing their job, we can't feel comfortable and rely that they're going to be there to protect us down the line. When they say 7 days, we don't know that. And we're certainly at this point, with the exposure that Porter Ranch has had, we're not going to go ahead and say, we'll move back in 7 days and accept that. We just won't. I don't think the people there should, nor should we allow that to happen.
No. And the gas company, they really need to man up and they need to make it right because they're making billions of dollars a year. And we all pay our gas bills.
That's
and
right.
we want to make sure that the quality of life that those people had in that area. I mean, some of those people could lose their whole livelihood,
That's
right. And there was a lot of people affected. Right. And you're right, we have no idea how far that gas went across the valley. If you look at it when it went down like a volcano and went across the ground. So, it could have gone across, you're right, it could have gone across many areas. The part, like I said, that people, the fact that they have to fight so hard for something that they shouldn't have to.
That is rightfully theirs.
They're just their basic quality of life.
Okay, answer the question then, why is that?
Again,
why is it that in this country,
I think it goes back to
has
money.
it come to that?
I think it has. I mean, look at not to say, but water and power, all of them. It's all about, we can get more. Well, if that's the case, then some of that profit or some of that revenue needs to be going to improving things. Because you know what? The thing that got me, Barb, like you said, is, first off, how do we know this didn't happen? before or longer. The only reason that we saw anything is because somebody put up a camera and looked. But for all we know, they could have been having issues with that for years.
I know.
And people, you go to the doctor and you tell the doctor, I'm having nosebleeds. Well, let's start you on this regimen of X, Y, or Z, or this or that, or I'm having nausea, or or my child's having this, or my animal's sick. Well, we don't know what's going on. Okay, well, I'm sure the doctors didn't have a clue. But don't we have something in our system, in our society, set up that if you've got 75 people coming into an emergency room complaining of something from an area, doesn't anybody look at those
Health
things?
Department is supposed to do that.
I mean,
But are they failing that? I don't know, because I don't know.
do you ever hear any of those things?
No. Well, things do happen. I mean, they do get into the news. Near Porter Ranch, their Santa Susana Pass, they had chemical companies there that had actually some radioactive things going on, and I had patients who worked there who are dead now, and they didn't know why they were sick. That wasn't exposed. And recently, I think it was NBC I-Team, investigative team, like 6 months ago, were looking at that whole area for contamination. And, it gets out there, then what gets done?
We don't want to tell anybody because of the real estate market, you see.
Ooh, yes.
There, we can't tell those people living on that hill in Simi Valley that, yes, there was a nuclear spill. There was issues in Box Canyon. That doesn't go away. That's there forever. Now, again, I mean, and it breaks my heart to think that it would come down to dollars and cents as opposed to the quality of people's lives, because people are worth so much more than that. But you know what I always say is just let people make their own choice. If this is what it is, you tell me, oh, you know what, I don't care about that, then that's fine. I happen to care about that, I feel very blessed. I live in the off the 210 freeway in Sylmar, where the old Veterans Hospital used to be. And people don't realize that Veterans Hospital was put in that area of LA County because the air was so good in Sylmar, because the winds would come through and blow everything into the valley, and we have beautiful air where we're at. But it always amazes me sometimes when I go out and I look where you can kind of see those haze walls and those things hanging in the air. And, you just wonder, what is that?
And what does it do to you?
Exactly. So what can we do? The only thing we really can do is things that help our body detoxify on a day in, day out basis, because our bodies are pretty an amazing machine.
Oh, yes, they are.
They really are
I found
amazing.
that out.
But, you can look at things. When we did the testing for the Porter Ranch, we had the indoor chemical test positive, which made sense because of the gas, the nosebleed and stuff. But it was interesting. The liver tested for people, the lymph tested for people. And again, like you said, Barb, where is it being stored in the body? We don't know.
The fat or in the liver, the kidneys, where is it going to cause some major problem down the line?
And so you don't realize, all of a sudden my energy's changed, or I'm not feeling as well, or my eyesight, or this or that. And what do we always attribute everything to? Well, it's just because I'm getting older. And that's really not the case.
And our seniors are facing this. Our seniors who are living in Porter Ranch are saying, oh, yeah, I'm getting older. I'm just having some symptom. And, they found out later it wasn't a part of their aging. It was the exposure part. And it's sad that they have to every day fight the challenges of life and meeting those challenges, yet all of a sudden they're exposed to something that seemingly takes it away, but they don't know that.
No, that's right. They don't.
And things like you said, pure water and clean food, those are basic, I think, God-given rights. If all I'm asking is just tell me what's there, what's in the food or in that water, and let me make my choice with my dollar where I'm going to spend it.
Absolutely.
And when people tell me, well, I get my organic strawberries from Oxnard. And where are they grown? They're grown along the side of the freeway.
Yes, that's right.
Petrochemical pesticides are oil-based. They don't rinse off. So one of the things, I'm sure I brought it up before, but one of the things I like to do with that is when people bring me things like that, I like to soak it in my Kangen water in a high alkalinity, which is a degreaser. And I'll put those berries or those grapes or whatever it might be in a bucket of water, and I'll just let them sit for a little while. And when I pour that water off, it's brown. Now, we don't think about that, but petrochemical pesticides and things like that are neuroexciters. They mess with our hormones. They mess with our immune system. So, sometimes you think you're doing this or that. I always tell people, just know where your food comes from. That's all. Try to buy as close as you can to, your farmer's market or things like that. And even if you do purchase foods that say, make sure you're cleaning them. And like I said, I feel blessed because I have an alkaline water system that allows me to make acid water, which will disinfect my food or produce.
And you said it was Congo?
It's called Kangen water. It's called Kangen water.
Oh, I thought it was like a Kangen dance or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. We get out with your little thing. We do. You so know me. You so know me. I get my little stick and everything.
Standing at the kitchen sink.
No, the beauty
exactly.
Exactly. No, the beauty of it is it allows you to split the water molecules and make them smaller. And in doing that, it allows you to get a high alkaline, 11.5 alkaline, which is a degreaser. And it allows you to get a 2.5 acid, which it literally smells like bleach. So what I do when I get my produce from the farmer's market is I bring it home and I have 2 sinks. And I start with one sink and I put it in and I degrease it and make sure there's nothing on it. And then the next sink I put it in. It's an acid water, kills all bacteria or anything. And my stuff lasts a lot longer because of that. So, I guess you just the bottom line is you got to look for those tools for what your risk factors are in your life. The reason I bought the water machine originally is I'm a water drinker. And when I did some of the research on the water, it made such sense of all the things. But for me as a mom, I didn't have to use chemicals anymore. I could use acid water. And that's what they do in Japan is they use this in their hospitals and in their meat packing plants. So you go in and spray everything down with a 2.5 water, which is acid. It's not going to hurt you, but it's going to kill everything in there. And then I don't have to come rinse or anything because it's water. So I feel very blessed that I have it. But that's one of the reasons I bought that tool for me is because it gave me the ability to take what I'm putting into my body and taking just one more step in making it as clean as I can. And in that case, like I said, most of the time the petrochemicals is what you see come off of this stuff. And you pick stuff up and it's slimy or greasy and is it a residue from waxing or something from manufacturing? Or is it just a simple fact that it sat outside alongside that freeway and all those cars driving by and that exhaust is landing right onto those berries?
That's right.
Or the carrots or the this is or that. But I was reading this article and I didn't even think of this. But it was a thing talking about one of the big home companies, Home Depot or Lowe's or one of those, talking about the fact that their plants have been treated with these chemicals. And we're wondering about this whole bee depopulation. And they were saying, well, don't worry, by 2018 or 19, we're going to get rid of this. But we're just letting you know. But I didn't even think of something like flowers you plant in your yard could be chemically treated so that here are these bees or these natural healthy bugs that we need for our ecosystem are being poisoned. But wait a minute, I'm touching those flowers. I'm picking those flowers. I'm putting my hands in that. I mean, it's sometimes I don't know. I don't know how we draw the line. I just wish we came to a point of transparency. Just let me know. This is what's going on. And I see it happening. It's slow, but I see it happening because I think why? Because they'll be able to get more money for it instead of it just being the normal way. But it's very interesting. One of the things Dr. King talked about on our last conference call regarding toxicity was the fact that there are over 80,000 man-made chemicals that have been introduced into our world since the Industrial Revolution. 80,000 chemicals. You take a brand new newborn baby and you test their core blood before they've ever breastfed or anything, and most babies test for over 200 chemicals in their blood.
Oh, wow.
And that's scary. Now, you say take a senior. You've had a lifetime exposure of this building and building. Why do we have Alzheimer's the way we do? Why do we have some of these degenerative diseases the way we do? We have no idea. We need to get these companies, Monsanto and some of the others out there, to own up to what they're doing and say, you know what, we don't want it. And what kills me is in Europe, they don't. They don't accept it.
No, they don't put up with
No,
it.
they do not.
But it's the too big to fail type of thing. You know, Monsanto is untouchable, like the banks
And you know
are
what?
untouchable.
And that's one of the things as humans we need to say, you know what? No, we're not going to purchase it. We're not going to buy it. The sad thing is if they think it's so great, then why do they have to try so hard and spend billions of dollars to hide it in where it is? And that's the part that you just kind of go, well, if it's so magical, and you know, it is a, I think they play on, I remember when I was first married back in the early 80s, and I went back to Minnesota. And my husband's family are all farmers back there. And I remember them telling me about this brand new corn seed they had that had this magical coating on it that was just wonderful. And I said, doesn't that sound wrong on some kind of a level? What do you mean magical coating? Well, it's going to do this and it's going to do that. But the bottom line is they were told it's going to give us more. And it's not about more, it's about quality, because the bottom line is, as we know, is those seeds, you cannot go into a field today and get an ear of corn and take that corn and dry it and take those seeds and grow more corn. It's sterile. And that's part of what the genetically modified engineering does to stuff. It's sterile. So it's coming to the point where we're going to own all the seeds. And if you want food, you're going to come to us for our seeds. That, to me, is even a more scary scenario. And not that these farmers across the United States of America, they care. You bet they care. Some of this is their livelihood. But they were also sold a bill of goods, too.
Yeah, I don't know whether I want to eat any more corn, especially corn on the cob.
Well, you know, but if you get, I do. This is what I do. I get heirloom seeds, and I grow it in my yard. It's the easiest thing to grow. It's a weed.
Yes, that's
You know
true.
what I mean? That's all you have to do.
That's true.
If
It
you
is.
love something, you're gonna make that work for you.
You're right. And we need to take a break, don't we? Yes, I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on my hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.